2. Hey folks, we're live. It's Friday. Doing some game dev stuffs on Unity today, as is my usual Friday stuff. Hope you've all had a good week enjoying your Friday. Apologies for no stream on the Wednesday. I thought I was kind of this confident, was this close, and so confident I would have what it takes to stream on Wednesday, but I think I just kind of pushed myself past that point. Is that and you know what? So this year, 2026, I'm going to try and do a bit more to recover and recharge. As much as I love streaming and talking to you guys, it can be a step too far some days. So Wednesday was, you know what? Let's take a step back. Chill, recharge, and have full energy for the rest of the week. And I have. I feel far greater for it. It's something I'm learning. But it does mean occasionally streams won't happen. But I'd rather occasional streams not happen rather than entire weeks. So it's a small compromise. I've come to terms with that. Yeah, see, my Discord's now saying I'm live. Awesome. But yeah, I hope you've all been keeping well. I did a little bit of stuff off stream. I've worked out the saving and loading of data, which is exciting stuff. So I can now save variables into a JSON file and then load it from a JSON file. And my previous issue with it running things out of sequence seems to be okay. I'm not 100% confident that it's going to continue that way. I'd rather bolster it and go, oh, I know for sure it's going to run that way, but we'll see how it goes for now. If it's going to mess up and not run in the correct order, then I'll have to put something in place. But I'm happy with it at the moment, so I can kind of cross that off the list. The game can save and load. It also kind of logs the correct information appropriately. Although I've just noticed something weird there. I'm going to have to check that. So it seems to have loaded the same data twice over two different things. So it's going to need some testing. So today on stream I'll be doing some testing on the saving and loading feature. And then we'll move on to adding other features. I think the main feature I would kind of like to look at is maybe the points system, kind of, because adding currency or points into a game kind of, it does add an element of grind, an element of improving skill to obviously gain more currency. I don't really want to make grindy games, but if it's something that people go, ooh, I like trying to save up my points or my currency to buy a thing, it makes people kind of think that what they're doing is worth it. It's giving them a goal. Because my original plan for this was to just have it as a time-based goal, so that you can complete the game, it doesn't matter. There's no kind of bar to stop you from finishing the game. Greetings, hey Jeffrey, how's it going? Did you like the new EP? I did. Very raw. I like the sound. Is that all you? Was that like a collaborative effort? No, you said you were working with other people at some point. No, all me, nice. I like it. Yeah, it sounds like a full band going on there. But of course, in a studio, you can work on things separately. Almost cancelled. Oh, was that due to your injury? Was it technical? Made a big smack last Tuesday on ice. Yes. Ooh. Just heard a rumble. Not sure if that's somebody moving bins or it's the weather. It's never comforting when you hear something rumbling outside. 6 songs were written. Was able to do 4, but better than the 0 I was afraid of. Yeah, you made a very good effort considering you weren't 100%. And those are 4 great songs. Like that, those songs rival some of the metal bands I know, sort of that I'm friends with. The whole street was like a mirror. Ooh, yeah, we've never had it quite that bad here. Well, not for recently anyway. Probably a few years ago, many years ago. We always get mild but annoying weather here. It's never extreme. I like 2 and 4 best. Don't like 3 myself. Oh, that's interesting. Like I'd say like 2. 2's sort of. I think 2's one of my favourites. And 4's pretty cool. Yeah, so they're all very good, but yeah, they're certainly ones that I enjoy a little bit more. But then I say I go off the vibes of metal, like the way it kind of sounds and makes me feel. I don't really tend to appreciate too much the technical. I know how much technical goes into it, but because I don't know the technical, is that well, it's a sound. I enjoy that sound. I can't objectively say what is better or not, but I can tell you what I enjoy. Now I've gone up sort of somebody who's DJ'd rock and metal music. Yeah, I kind of go off sounds. Like I go, oh, this is a song, like a track that so you can really hear what the artist was doing here. To me, it's music, and it goes well when I play this music with this music. So I see it as a DJ standpoint. But in electronic music, I know how to produce electronic music, and I can kind of go objectively what tracks kind of sound better on a technical standpoint to me. But then I still appreciate the vibe of it. Okay, yes, this is technically quite a basic track, but I like the vibe they're going with it, and I can enjoy it. But then if I know myself, I can sit down at a computer sort of for a few hours and then produce something of equal value. I tend to kind of put it at a lower bar. But metal, I could spend days trying to produce one metal track and sort of not have it sound anywhere near as good as anything else I've heard. But electronic music is one of those type of things that sort of people think, oh, I can just throw a few drum loops onto a sequencer and sort of a pre-made synth and loop it, and I've got myself a dance track. And yeah, technically it's a dance track. It's not a very good one though. Metal, on the other hand, you do need a bit of skill to produce something. But yeah, that's why I wanted to kind of. At one stage, I wanted to mix live bass guitar and sort of real drum hits, but sequenced digitally. If that makes sense, like a drum machine, and kind of like almost pendulum style music, where it is live music done in a dance format. It's kind of what I'm going for. Let's switch over to the main screen. Eventually, I'll probably stream making music at some point, but I'm very much on the sort of game dev stuff. So this is my creative outlet at the moment, and I will get back into some things. Like game dev's very good. Generally, I think that covers all bases for me, because I like coding, I like visual design, I like audio, I like things that are interactive. So game dev kind of brings in all elements. Like you get to do visual design, art, 3D modeling, coding, sound production, sound design, story writing. There's so much involved creating a video game. That's why a lot of solo devs, if they are purely written everything by themselves, which is like Stardew Valley. He was like the artist, the coder, and the sound composer. And he just did it full time, which is amazing. Let's give this a run. Ooh, we got a crash already. What's happened? So this is something I'm not actually tested. So we're streaming the testing of something I did off stream. So playing rockets, not set to an instance of an object. Sound affects rock hit. Hello, hey boss, how's it going? Hope you're well, hope you've had a good week. And so we're at testing stage at the moment. Did some work off stream. So we're testing loading, saving and loading data. I'm good, how are you? Glad to hear. I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good week. Sort of great. This I can see the cut off of the shadow. I'm gonna have to remake these buttons a little bit better because the shadow's cut off there. But only I can see it when it's this close. But yeah, it's been a good week. A lot of good progress made at work. Keeping good energy levels. Is that a new background image? This is still the same menu image that I've had for a while. In this, I haven't streamed the main menu for a while, but I'm trying to get things working on the main menu. We have broke something because when you change the sound effects slider, it plays the rock hitting sound. And that's just crashed, so I'm going to have to work out what's happened there. That was cool, thank you. The background image, I'm going to hold my hands up. This is an AI image for the background. Because okay, I need something that represents the game. I'll quickly get an AI prompt to give me the vibe I'm looking for, which is kind of like a castle and trebuchet and people throwing stuff. I don't like the fact that these are kind of soldiers. This is nothing... these characters have no bearing on the game, so I don't want them in there. The AI is... oh, yeah. But yeah, so it's generally the vibe. What I want to do is create this scene within the game and kind of take a screenshot and then use that as a background. So it's kind of showing what the game's going to be like. Because I'll never be able to draw to this kind of level. Still need to make you a drawing, but I'm just right. That's fair. That's all fine. Yeah, so as it is still a work in progress, and using the AI image as a stand-in, that's all good. I want to draw something nude. I have an NSFW version, and people. Nude is allowed on Itch. It is. One of the few places that the extra content can still allow it. There's a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if you use Kickstarter or kind of pledge to stuff on Kickstarter, but they're making it harder for people to include adult themed stuff in Kickstarter kind of projects. But it's not Kickstarter themselves, but Stripe. Stripe, who helps fund things on Kickstarter, have said they will not allow processing of any funds related to adult content. And that could be anything. That is sort of things they deem too adult. They will not allow funds. Which kind of stifles people's creativity. You go, okay, if I want to produce a Kickstarter that has adult themes in there, if Stripe deems it too adult, and go, nope, this mentions nudity, then they won't pay out on your Kickstarter, which is a bit crap, because there is nothing wrong with adult themes. It's as long as it's vetted and goes to the appropriate age groups, then there should be no problem. But there's so many payment things that are doing that now. Stripe is the payment processor which the banks they work with were made to include such rules in the TOS of a stupid group. Yeah. Yeah, because there was a whole thing with Steam as well. Sort of payment through Steam to buy Steam games. So okay, we'll pull out of funding like processing fees of Steam if Steam doesn't bow down to these rules. You're processing money, not anything illegal. It's not that you're funding drugs or anything. But the other people who don't know video games, yeah, exactly that. And go, oh, I don't agree with this content, therefore we're not allowing you to sell this content. And go, well, it's not illegal though. No, you're not funding criminals, but no, it's all kind of messed up. There's like sort of it's the same in the same kind of vein as like banning books because you don't like the theme of it. Is that no? So if somebody enjoys it and it hasn't got anything that breaks the law, then why are you stifling people's creativity and people's enjoyment? It's not good. Protecting children, yes. We must protect the children while simultaneously harming the children with other things. Yeah, that's a whole thing itself, that you can't cry out that you're protecting children at the same time harming them in your own way. Isn't that the job of the parents and not third party? Exactly. Now, if the parents aren't protecting the children, then that's when things get a bit bad, because that is their job. Well, that's fair enough. If you leave it to the parents and the parents don't, then it's not the government to take over all responsibility, only in sort of certain cases. But you should be allowed to raise your children the way you want, as long as they are raised well and not harmed, and allowing them to experience content which is appropriate to them is up to the parents. Especially these days, it's sort of like you consider the contents that we consumed when we were younger. Like you think, oh, that was quite bad back then, but now it's like that's nothing. Sort of horrific. But then equally, it's gone the other way as well. There's certain things that you look back now and go, like, I don't think children now should be consuming that, and yet that was deemed okay publicly for children at the time. But then things change. Generations have different views. But then it's up to the, as you say, up to the parents of that generation to determine what they want the next generation to experience. Saying how the times have changed, people really became softer. Yeah. Now there's certain levels of it with, yes, things that were harmful that we didn't consider harmful should be looked at and go, okay, this was a bit more harmful than we previously thought. But then to sort of go too far and go, well, everything is harmful, let's just cut all of it. There's got to be nuance with it. Hey Lisa, I sell emotes. Sell the best emotes. Yeah, it's kind of, you have to sort of find the line of go, well, what is actually harmful and what is fine, really. Like, there's people that get too far the other way, like, as well, sort of both sides. Like, well, we don't need to protect children, we don't need to worry about them, we can send them out on the street in the dark and they'll be fine. I was fine, I didn't get murdered or kidnapped when I was a child, therefore all children will always be safe because I was when I was a child. Yeah, that's kind of what do they call it? Is it survivor's bias? I think they call it. It's a phenomenon called survivor's bias, I think. Where sort of because you survived, or a thing survived an incident, clearly then there's no issue. And that doesn't count things that didn't survive that incident. I think the great example of survivor's bias was warplanes. That they considered improving warplanes based on the planes that returned from battle. But then of course the planes that didn't return from battle, they didn't actually analyse why they didn't return from battle, because they didn't have any evidence of why they didn't return from battle, because they didn't return from battle. So, to their knowledge, like, everything they did to improve a plane was make sure it was returned, but it didn't. These days it's far easier to kind of check these things, but there's still unfortunately a lot of people with the psychology that, well, if one thing survives, all things shall survive. It doesn't work like that. I think need to put some error handling. So, no reference exception, object reference not set to an instance of an object, sound effects.play rock. So it's trying to run this line here, which it should be. Play rock hit, and it's getting to the point here. So get current sound effects ID. So rock attributes. Now it depends at what stage it's saying it's not set as an instance. So we'll probably have to do some checks here. So it's either rock attributes, it hasn't been set. So we go up to here. So sound effects, rock attributes. So look, sound effects. Rock attributes isn't there. So let's start by doing that. Let's drag in a rock attributes into that. Rock attributes. I'll put it into the there we go. Put it into the prefab. We'll try that again. If that was as easy as it was, then we're all good. Let's try that again there. See what we get. I will put some music on, but as I'm playing with music, I don't want to. There we go. Okay, that seems to be working fine. One thing I do need to do is I want it to be a comfortable volume when the two sliders are in the middle. At the moment, it's not comfortable. There we go. Might have to turn my headphones down a little bit. So I'd say it's comfortable around here. So I need to bring the volume of the audio files down so it's comfortable here. But I will turn the music off and then unmute the stream audio so we can play some music. Because if you're familiar with this loading screen as well, actually, I've added a new button called Load, which I'm very happy to say works nicely. Well, to a certain degree, I need to work out these arrays. Something's not working quite right with the arrays, so I do need to check that. So if I go load, that's so the load should work. So if I put 0, 0, 0, -1 and hit load, you can see it actually loads the data in. As expected, it's pretty cool. Do you know the code editor Z? I don't think I've come across that. Z. What's it? Is it like a language agnostic editor? Kind of, you can use it with any. Or is it sort of tailored more towards one thing or another? I'm always interested in knowing these different editors and stuff. And is it sort of more of an editor or is it an IDE? Because like Visual Studio, of course, Visual Studio is a full IDE, which is great. I do like using Visual Studio, but I use it daily as part of my job, so I kind of got comfortable with it anyway. And I've tried just an editor. That's cool. Yeah, sometimes you just want a quick editor. I use for quick edits, I use Notepad++, which I know recently was exposed as having a bit of a security issue, but they fixed that now. But I like Notepad++ because it's very quick just to open a code file and read it, basically, and make a quick change. Obviously you can't compile it, but it's just very good for reading stuff. Oh, okay, that's what's going on. When on Windows, Notepad++ was my go-to for quick edits. Nice. Yeah, I do enjoy using Notepad++. I know Sublime is another one my ex-manager liked using. I downloaded it, had a look at it, went, it doesn't give me anything that Notepad++ doesn't give me, and I'm already familiar with and comfortable with how that works. But he was always a fan of Sublime. But what can you tell me about Z then? Is there sort of Is there something you kind of enjoy using about that? Used to use Sublime when first coming to Linux, but found Z. Nice. No, so I haven't touched it for ages, but I've got a Linux computer in the other room that I was starting to kind of familiarise myself and kind of learn around it and stuff. Because my main computer is a Windows one. This one here is Windows 10, used for gaming, streaming, everything. And then I've got my Linux computer. It's a rebuild from my father's old computer. So I just installed Linux on it and thought, cool, let's see if I can make pretty much a clone of my workspace from Windows into Linux and kind of have a comparison. Like, okay, let's do similar stuff and see what applications I can use, and just generally see how much quicker it's going to be. Z is just fast, which I enjoy, and it has the only terminal. It's the only terminal built into an editor that actually got to work. Nice. Also has some AI features built in, but don't use them. And there's great extension support. Awesome. I might install that on my Linux computer then. So I haven't done any coding on that. It's one thing I've not actually got to yet. But I've got Blender on there. I've got image editors. Because I was going to basically use it so I can sit there and create stuff. Be more of like a creative machine. And then anything I make on there I kind of export and bring over to this one if I want to include it in any projects. But yeah, I'll definitely give Z a go then, because yeah, I've not really looked into too much coding. But sort of it's definitely a untapped potential. Especially these days, so Microsoft's getting more and more intrusive with stuff. It's getting so slow and bogged down, and all this kind of what do they call it, bloatware, and just you don't really. Yeah, I've actually done it with my my laptop. I reinstalled Windows 10 on my laptop and debloated it, and it's so much lighter on the resources, just taking out half the Microsoft crap. If you had WSL on your main machine, you could just SCP to your exploit file from Linux to your main machine. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did try setting some connections up, but yeah, I might when I actually get back to using it, I'll set up I'll set up connections and stuff. But I think I put I think I did try to get remote desktop, Microsoft Remote Desktop working on Linux. I think I also got VLC, VNC. Yeah, VNC on there to work as well. Dog walk time, okie dokie, see you shortly. I had the great pleasure of fixing Windows 11 on a Lenovo for a friend and ended up converting him to Linux. Nice. Yeah, Windows 11 is good on a business level. Like I use Windows 11 at work. It's fine. My home computers are just too old for it. VNC is kind of like remote desktop, but seems to be more comfortable and native with Linux. I use VNC with Raspberry Pis more often, because Raspberry Pis have VNC built into the operating system. But you can use it You can use it on any OS. But yeah, you have a VNC viewer and VNC clients, yeah, you can just kind of check it out. Yeah, it's a. I don't know if there's a way of doing it outside of network, but within internal networks, you just kind of connect to the IP address, and as long as it's running the client on it, you basically bring up the remote desktop using the viewer. But yeah, I come across it when I started working with Raspberry Pis. And the Raspberry Pi, in the main system settings, you can just literally turn on the service and download and install the free VNC viewer on your operating system of choice. Type in the IP address, and boom, you're in. You do have to, well, if you've got password, you have to kind of sign in. Okay, username, password into the machine. So I did set up VNC on the Linux machine, and then VNC viewer on my main machine. I could just literally sit here, have my screen open on the Linux machine, and then use Windows. SSH is enough for me right now, since I don't use any DEs on your computer. That's fair. I've used SSH a couple of times, but I like kind of visual interfaces too much to sort of just kind of go back to SSH. But it's useful though. It's useful to kind of just go, I just need to do a quick task. I don't need to load up a whole visual thing. And I just need to kind of run a thing. But yeah, it does the job. But I like most of my knowledge of Linux is through Raspberry Pis at the moment. Because yeah, I've had to work that out and communicate with a number of them for work. I built an entire data collection network based on Raspberry Pis. It's kind of sort of one dotted in every site in the business that I can sort of remote into, collect data and feeds back and stuff. Yeah, coming from Windows, I was like, I don't want to touch terminal at all. Then install Arch. Yeah, it's one of those things that once you get into the habit of using terminal, it's not too bad. That I go through stages where I'm using Windows terminals a lot, or command prompts for Windows, and yeah, you just kind of fall into habit. It's just typing stuff, and it almost becomes quicker to type than it is to try and load up a UI, find the right buttons. You go, well, just type this in, it's done. And I do a lot of server maintenance for work as well, Windows Server maintenance. And it's getting to the point where a lot of it can only be done through terminal. Like sort of, especially PowerShell, because there isn't a UI. Windows hasn't made a UI, or at least an easy UI, for a lot of the server features. So you have to do it through a terminal. Windows Server is crazy. Yeah, like what should be simple, like okay, basic sort of user level Windows, easy. I just want to do a thing. Go on the server, no. It's almost like it is, but it's not quite, and that's quite frustrating. Because it's like, well, I know how you do it on like end terminal machines for Windows, but for servers, it's like I wouldn't mind learning to set up a Linux server and having things kind of run off a Linux server rather than a Windows server, so that the cost difference. I don't know exactly what we're paying, but license fees for Windows Server is not cheap. And for the most part, there's nothing really that we need to use Windows for on some of these. Some of the servers we need to use Windows because they're terminal servers, and people need to be able to connect in and use the services on Windows. But then there's others that are just doing background jobs that don't actually need all the bloated windows. But it's just easy to go, okay, we have a sort of a bank of different Windows servers, and we can just chop and change their jobs as we need. But yeah, I can imagine the cost saving if we switch some of those servers from Windows to Linux. Especially data storage. Like if a server is just purely data storage, you don't need Windows. You remember the home server I was writing cloud software for? Oh yes, yeah. Well, I hate writing front-end code. Majority of it was front-end code. Ended up starting a refactor and stopped. Oh. Now, I like refactoring, but then it becomes a rabbit hole. I go, oh, this is actually more of a slog than it's worth at this point. A lot of today at work I've spent refactoring some of my my older code for our current project. And it's kind of enjoyable because it's like, this has been bugging me for a while. And every time I open it and look at it for a quick job, I go, if I could just refactor this, then every time I need to come back to it, it's going to be so much easier. And today I got the chance to do some of it, so it's like, like the code is like 2/3 of the size it was before. Just because I've centralized some functions. Because we have a lot of different functions doing 99% the same thing. So it's like, if I could just change this. Because, yeah, it's just really not efficient. Right, I'm going to get some YouTube music up. Let's try this 80s Tokyo playlist. Yeah, that's good. We'll go with that. As I said before with refactoring code, is that you can get to a point of diminished returns where you're taking more time to refactor something than it's actually going to be beneficial for you. So you go, okay, I might as well just leave it as it is. Refactoring is so enjoyable, but sometimes painful. Yeah, I generally do enjoy refactoring because especially when you've learnt something about the process, because you build it, you make it sloppy, it kind of works. And you change it a few times and add things to it, take things away, and then eventually when you're happy with what it's doing, you can look at it and go, well, now I'm like pretty happy that I'm not going to change its function. I can look back and actually make it more efficient and more concise, and just find out the best route to get the same result. And that's quite satisfying to go, okay, it's now clean, it's now something I can use elsewhere. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, that's generally the advice for any kind of game devs anyway. Like, if the game runs and it's not affecting the game, like it's not necessarily going to be useful to you to refactor it. Like, but then if there's a function that's being used, if I kind of modularize it and kind of make it more universal, then I know I can use it elsewhere without having to double my efforts later on. But only if I know I'm going to use it again. If I'm not going to use it, no real point. Right. What I want to do when I finish this level is element 0 is going to get a number between 1 and 3. And element 0 here on best times should get a number greater than 0. But element 1 for both the medal and the time should remain as they are. And for some reason they are not. So I'm just going to confirm that it is doing what I think it's doing. I probably should make a level 0. And that level 0 is completable within 10 seconds. But this is completable in about 2 minutes, so it's not too bad. Plus, if I make a level 0, it probably could break it. And as you see, ain't broke, don't fix it. The only thing is I get so good at playing this level. I don't know anymore, genuinely, if this level is going to be fun for anyone. But then, I'm seeing it from the eyes of the person who has played it so many times now. You know, 1 minute 47. So, I've been awarded gold, which is ID 3, silver is ID 2, bronze is ID 1. It saved the time in seconds, so 107 seconds is 1 minute 47. I didn't use any hints, so that's remained 0. So if I go to the next level, these shouldn't change. They have not. Now I think if I go back to main menu, I think this is where the issue lies. No, main menu has not done it. Interesting. My favourite level. There is a good level. Now what I need to do is, because we have completed level 1 or element 0, if I hit play, it should look at this up the top here and go, oh, you've already done level 1. But what I probably should do is have a level select screen, or maybe even a pop-up, maybe not necessarily a level select screen, but a pop-up that shows all the levels and kind of activates the button to play that level. Because if you say, well, I only got bronze on level 1, I want to go back and play it and get gold, then you should be able to go back and play level 1. So I need to make a pop-up. And then once you've completed a level, it activates that within the pop-up. So I could do that as well. Because if I go play again, I go play. Okay, it did. I don't know at what point it duplicated those values, but we'll leave it like that. See if we can play again. Now if I get a better time, it should overwrite it. If I get a worse time, it will not overwrite it. So if this works, and I'm not getting any bugs, there's bound to be bugs in this. But frustratingly at work, as with anything, I've tested our project a few times, I've changed a few things, I've tested it again. Cool, it works, doing everything I expect it. I deploy it, all the members of staff in the business start using it, and I start getting emails coming through and go, oh no, what's gone wrong now? And it's usually like, well, in this very specific circumstance, when using this specific part of data, it comes back with an error and go, ah, okay. Now I wouldn't have known to use this data with this feature, and so it's thankfully it's small things, but it's still kind of frustrating. Go, wow, I should have thought about it, but when you can't think of every scenario, and that's why we have testers. We have people to break things for us. Show hints. Oh, just it's always that window. Every time I play this. So I got a worse time, 1 minute 54. So it has not updated this. I got gold again, so it's not going to update that. We go next level. Hasn't. Cool. So that seems to be working fine. Let's finish this level now. And if it works for now, what I will do is create a level select screen. And need to think the best way to indicate you've loaded your save data. Or maybe should I change it from like where it says play and load to continue and new game maybe. Because I know a lot of games that if you make a save file, it says continue, but then you'd have to look for the save file, load it anyway, and then if it has data in it, then show the continue button. If you open the save file and there's no data, then grey out the continue button and just allow people to create a new game. Because you as the developer, you sort of have tunnel vision, so you know what the program is supposed to do under which yeah, like developers know the perfect path through any software. Yeah, it's so easy to go, well, people will click here, they'll do this, and then they get this result. And you do it several times. Cool. You change a few variables even. Like, okay, what happens if I want to do this? What happens if I want to do this? What happens if I try to put the wrong value in? I recall hearing a like it's kind of like a developer coder joke about a man walking into a bar. Your typical man walks into a bar joke, but it's a developer walks into a bar. Oh no, tester should I say? Or you can I suppose it's tester. Developer testing his software. Walks into the bar. Orders 1 beer. Orders 2 beers. Orders 10 beers. Orders -1 beer. Orders a cake. He goes, okay. -1 beer. Goes, okay, all works. Then a user comes in and asks to book a table, and the whole thing crashes. How? My genuine reaction. Yeah, you've always got to kind of test for the instance that, okay, is somebody going to put a negative value in this? You need to be able to catch for negative values. Okay, so something's not gone right here. It's logged medal ID 3, which is gold, but I only got silver. So somewhere it's got 3 and thinks, well, 3 is the highest, silver is inferior. But it has put the time in. So 227 seconds, I think it's 3 minutes 47 seconds. So something's happening with the medals. Something's happening with the medals that's not quite... it's not storing these as I expect. The times though, times are working fine. Hints are working fine. And the sound volumes, they're working fine. I need to have a closer look at the way it handles the medals. Okay, let's see if I can find the actual joke. I haven't told it exactly as it was. A software tester walks into a bar. Okay, here's the full joke. This is the joke. Okay, so the joke is a software tester walks into a bar. They run into a bar. They crawl into a bar. They dance into a bar. They fly into a bar. They jump into a bar. Then once in the bar, they order 1 beer, 2 beers, 0 beers, 99999 beers, a lizard in a beer glass, -1 beer, QWERTY beers, then go, okay, testing complete. A real customer walks into a bar, asks where the bathroom is, and the bar bursts into flames. See with this post. There's also this joke where it's a picture of a printed page that says theory is when we know why it works but not how it works. Yeah. Practical is when we know how it works but not why it works. Yeah, I've been there before. In our lab, they are combined. We don't know why or how it works. Now, is it going to let me copy and paste this into here? It's only going to do one at a time. Yeah, I'm not pasting the whole joke out line by line. Googling that joke comes up with the whole thing anyway. might post it to my social media. I do enjoy that joke. Yeah, I like the theory and practical joke as well. I need to put some logs around that. Wrong button. It's funny because Restream bots send it to it. Yeah, it's the problem with having relay bots. Yeah, I'm still undecided with Restream bot because I'm not using Restream anymore, but the bot is still connected to my account. So it yeah, it relays stuff between different channels. Yeah, I'd like it to have a bit more control over how it relays stuff. And how it kind of reports back to me. See, the annoying thing is, at the moment, I see everyone's posts twice. Seems a bit pointless since we can see the chat on the screen. Yeah, like, I was thinking like, you can kind of see what's on the screen, you can see people talking on Twitch, people on Twitch can see people talking on YouTube. But then sort of, it all depends whether people are just looking at the chat and want to talk. So I've not really sort of worked out the best way around it. Back from dog walk. Welcome back. Hope it was a good walk and pretty uneventful. That's why the thing is, well, if you're relying on the chat on the screen, like what you're seeing on the screen is a few seconds late. So yeah, I don't know. I need to work something out. I did initially believe that I would lose the bot when I cancelled my Restream subscription, but clearly I can kind of cheat my way around it and still have the bot. Let's go next. Let's go back to main menu. Right. Put those back to that. Let's reset these values. I do have a function that resets the values. Like if you want to clear your save file, I do have a function. I've just not attached it to any process. So I think I could keep the load button. Change the play button to new game. Effectively play is new game. Well, actually no. At the moment, play is just play the game. Load is load the data. Change load to continue. Yeah. So I think what I should probably do then, if I change load to continue, and it then opens the level select. Whereas if I have play as kind of like new game, or even just keep it as play, then clicking play goes into level 1 with a new fresh file. Whereas continue would load the data and then open the level select. Play will be confusing, make it new game, yes. I like that idea, so yeah. New game, continue. Now I can either do like graying out continue if there's no file, or clicking continue, and then if it can't find the data, it will then go, well, sort of no save game. But I'll work out the specifics on that. Yeah, I'll change these two buttons. Let's open up my Photoshop. Let's bring this over here. Just had it open button. So rather than load, we'll keep load because load could be useful for other things. Let's duplicate load and call that continue. Continue. Let's export that one. Continue button, and then we want a new game. Let's duplicate that again. New game. Export. New game. Cool. Let's load these UI sprites. So where is it? New game and continue. There we are. Bring those in. Cool, those two sprites are in here. Let's swap them out. Cool, that looks a bit more video game like now. Looks very professional. So new game and continue. And I'll rename the objects up here. So rename that to continue. So effectively, new game will work as it's. Well, new game kind of needs to reset the data, because new game, if you've loaded data, you go new game, you want it to reset without having that. So that's where the reset function comes in that I've made. So that needs to run the reset function and then open level 1. Continue needs to load the data, then open up the level select screen, and then upon clicking the level, load that level. So let's attach the process to new game. Be right back, okie dokie. Main menu. Let's rename these functions here, because it could be so public back to main. Yeah, I can see that being a function where it would be used. I don't know, but play tutorial. Okay, could be a function. I'll consider that one. Level select. This one I'm not going to go with, thank you, Copilot. Because level select is going to be on the main menu. So public void new game. So it will have level 1, but we also want to let's try this again. Place those in there, so we might not use them, but we might use them. Not things I was planning on, but tutorial level might be interesting. Good for testing, I suppose. Actually, I can see why it's suggested back to main, because opening the options does that. Public credits could be useful, could be very short credits, but I don't want to open a scene, because it'd be an object. Level select. Cool. Now there's going to be 3 elements on this. Could be the main menu buttons, the option pop-up, and the level select pop-up. So we're going to want 3 functions that kind of determine a true false. Now again, I could refactor this and just have a single function that sets them all to false and then sets the one that they need to be true to true. But in this case, that could be a little bit overkill because there's only a couple of things there. But generally that seems to be a good option to guarantee that only one thing is active, is that you set everything inactive and then only set one thing active. You can guarantee, as the worst case, nothing will be active rather than multiple things. And it means you can add stuff easier later on because you just add it to the deactivate part and then it's there for everybody, and then you have to add it to multiple places. He's back, still sell emotes, still sell the best emotes. Welcome back, Lisa. Let's do a quick one there. Go private. Void. Hide all. There's those awesome emotes. So it becomes like this then. So each of these functions only effectively has 2 lines of code, but it is doing more things. And I'm back. Welcome back, Rob. Okay, so that means it's less maintenance to go back and add stuff. So you just add it, anything new you add to this function down here, and then you just add whatever function to open it up here. Was it will break? I go to test it now because there's nothing in that slot. So let's rectify that. So we need to make a pop-up similar to the options pop-up. So it's going to need to be bigger than the options pop-up, because you have to have all the levels. And I don't know how many levels I'm going to have yet. So I could make something small for now and just increase its size, as long as there's an object that exists. It won't need anything too complex either. Now I do have an asset here already in the projectile menu, which has a set of scrolls which I could use for level select. So let's make a, because what is that? That is just an empty, isn't it? Because the options is an image, the slider is a slider, obviously. Back is an image. Now, would you need a back button from the level select? If you've gone load game, I suppose if you decided actually no, I don't want to continue and load a level, I want to create a new game, you want to be able to go back. So the back button still needs to exist on level select, I suppose. Well, it depends if the quit button is still visible. It won't be, will it? Because it hides that. I won't put it in for now, but it would be good. It would be good for the people to have the option to go, actually no, I won't continue with my save file, I want to wipe it. Otherwise you have to select a level, then quit the main menu, and then start a new game. Which, it means people can still do what they want, they just have to go through a couple of extra hoops. So it's not a massive issue. Let's make an empty and call this game object level select. And inside this level select, let's create an image. And this image is going to be level select again. So it is quite forgiving having similar names. Now, what is the actual image dimensions? I think I have to grab that from the okay, this 966 530. Okay. That is pretty central. Yeah, I'm happy with that positioning. I think I might have to make a new image in the same sort of vein, so I can just have space for a title, level select, and place for buttons. But for now, we'll work with this one. It needs to exist first, and then it can be improved. Now within the level select, there needs to be 4 buttons. Okay, I'll probably actually use these, couldn't I? Really I'm starting to really get into Lego, by the way. Ooh, nice. As you know, I love Lego. Have you seen all the animal sets they brought out? Not great now. I have no job, barely any income. Oh, yeah. Lego is so expensive. Like, I don't think anyone can say Lego is a child's toy anymore, because their things are so expensive. You need to be an adult with actual money to get the things. Buy me a hurdy-gurdy. Hurdy-gurdies are very cool. They're not cheaper. I have been writing a lot about new Lego, so I know a lot about what's getting released. Mostly into the botanicals collections. Botanicals are very cool. I'm not completely sold on them. I feel like if you want to have like flowers and plants that aren't going to die, have the joy of building them, they're great. Very cool. I hope they are loud. Yeah, I don't think I've actually heard a hurdy-gurdy live. I've seen videos though. A lot of instruments that are louder than they look, like banjos or bagpipes. But not ukuleles though. Yeah, I like they've released several different Lego cats now. So they just did have the tuxedo cat originally. Now they made, is it Ginger? And the black and white cat. And also they're bringing out the tiger from K-pop Demon Hunters. They've teased that one. That'd be quite cool. I also like the very detailed ones, or like Pixel Mario. Pixel Mario is cool, yeah. Yes, written about the orange cat. They are cool. Like, if I had the shelf space and the money, I would just have all the cats lined up, because that would be very cool. Very detailed ones are expensive, yes. But I think if anyone who's done like the Star Wars Lego collection, that would cost a fortune, and the space you need a whole room just for it. Like I had like the miniature, well, not the mini one, but I had the small Millennium Falcon. It's about this big, and so that's cool in itself. But the actual proper Millennium Falcon Lego model is like this. Like, where do you put those kind of things? Same. I did see the very small cute one from Minecraft Pandas, which was €10. Yeah, I think I've seen Minecraft. I've seen Minecraft Panda. Yeah, it's like a panda house thing that looks like a panda. Is that the one? I was tempted to get that. What I do have is during lockdown, or around 2021, Nix and I built the Lego Friends Panda Sanctuary set, which was pretty cool. You had tiny little Lego pandas, and they were on the seesaw. I only own one Lego set, and it's a 3-in-1 space set where I can build either the Lunar Lander, Saturn V, or Space Shuttle. Nice. That's a very cool set. I haven't got any modern space stuff. Like when I was younger, I had like this. I forgot what the theme they called it, but it was like the Moon Raiders. I think it's like Moon Raiders, maybe. It was like the black and green classic space sets. Very cool indeed. Nice. Yeah, I like the Lego 3-in-1s. The fact that with the same bricks you can make 3 different models, and sort of just as good as each other. Wrote this article. This one is also huge. Haven't touched it in a while. Yeah, like most of my Lego models I've built, and if I can, I'll put them somewhere safe. I shall have to check out that. I'll click it on my laptop. click it. Open a new tab. I have like 4 cats, so nowhere safe for Lego builds. Yeah, cats and Lego don't necessarily mix well. Like, thankfully, I have 1 cat in this house, and he is lazy. So he is not going to be destructive. Oh yeah, I love the AT-ATs. I wouldn't mind a Lego AT-AT. Yeah, I've seen a couple of instances where people just making them out to be like pets. And one time, the one time built a massive Lego tower just for my cat to knock it down and wasn't knocking. Oh no! Oh, the little bastard. A quick scan through the article. I'll read it properly after the stream. But yeah, the Lego AT-AT is definitely a pet, especially that size. It's the size of a medium dog. That's crazy. I proceed to make the mess of the Legos better. And they start rolling around, they go. You're just rubbing salt in the runes now. Just yeah, I've seen videos online of like cats versus Lego, and it's heartbreaking. Especially if you're in another room and you hear like a crash and Lego bricks scattering, and a cat comes running out the room. Not happy. Yesterday decided my mouse pad was his bed, so I had to use my trackpad for a while. Yeah, they just instinctively know that the most annoying way to kind of keep your attention. But there's none for now. Actually, let's go to let's make it a there's prefabs. There's the prefabs. UI prefabs. Cool, that's now a prefab. Which means I can go to the main menu and then drag it into there. Cool, I'm happy about that. Save that. Go to the code, weapon level select. Now that needs to be attached to where's the load go? Open level, back to idle, play tutorial. Oh, I know, because I didn't attach it into here. I need to do some moving around. Game Progress Manager. I suppose that button, continue button, could have two functions, couldn't it? Yeah, I've seen tricks you can do with cats that like to lie on keyboards. Is that you have a dummy keyboard that you don't have it connected to your computer. And when the cat's about, you start tapping on this dummy keyboard. Wait for them to lie down on the dummy keyboard, and then you just continue using your actual keyboard. There we go. So loads of progress, opens level select. Now, options we can hide again. Go save and just see that in actually working in action. So go continue. Then we'll select the level, and then it'll load up into level. Yesterday decided was it how to do that sometimes, yeah. Yeah, it's a bit more awkward if you have a laptop. The times I've been sat at the table downstairs with my work laptop, just trying to change a couple of things before I go back to work, and the cat then decides that he will not be sleeping, as he has done for the past few hours, and now he's going to walk all over the table and try and sit on the laptop, which he does not do at any other times. Like, he does not walk on the table. As soon as I get my laptop out and start trying to do stuff, that is the time he wants to come up. I have to place my external keyboard next to my laptop. On the laptop is so funny, yeah. I'm not sure if he hears the fan of the laptop, because he does that with my mother as well. As soon as her laptop is on and she's trying to do stuff, he's like, well, I shall now cling to the laptop. So maybe the fan's whirling, he feels heat coming out of it when he's there. He just associates the sound of the fan and the laptop with a heat source. Doesn't do it with tablets. If you're using a tablet, doesn't care. So it's either the sound of the fan or the sound of the keys, which he associates with, this is a nice heat-giving cat bed that I must sleep on right now. Right, let's add some buttons. So what I was going to do is use these numbers, because I have numbers 1 to 9 or 0 to 9. We can use these for now and then change it up. So let's create 8 images. Level 1, and then drag in the one sprite. I almost put his claw in my screen. Ooh, oh, that wouldn't have been good. Yeah, the worst thing is I'm trying to do coding on my work laptop and he decides he wants to refactor everything for me. So, nope, no you do not. It's not going to happen. Yeah, it hasn't caused any damage yet. Not to anything electronic. It's caused me a little bit of damage, but this cat wants to just help. Because let me just check this code for. Yeah, that's just so efficient. You're using outdated standards. Let me add in a few extra lines of code here. I can make this run so much better. There's a PhD in helping. I think most pets have PhDs in helping, don't they? So whatever you're doing, I help. So no, I do not need your help. There's nothing you could possibly do to make this situation any more better than it is. What are we doing for time? Oh yeah, we've got plenty of time. Got at least another 15 minutes. Let's do 8 levels here. I say as I progress, I can obviously change this, but as with anything in game dev, it needs to exist first. Well, anything creative, I suppose. Like, the hardest part about creating anything I find is actually starting something. Because you go, well, I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know if it's what I'm doing is going to be the best. And you go, well, it doesn't matter. You can't make something good if it doesn't exist to begin with. And once it exists, you just improve it from there. Now, I'm pretty happy with that first one. So let's is this the Y? This is the Y position, isn't it? It's 1, 2, 6. Make them all 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 6. And then when it exists, you hit the refactor button 20 billion times before being happy. Yeah. That's the way it goes. So that's minus. I think I'm minus 329. Minus 329. Minus 115. Minus 115. 95. 95. In actual fact, let's undo that, because I reckon that bottom one is better. Call that 100. That's 322. And I think that should be 322. 322. Not perfect. Actually, in fact, I think I can make that probably 320. Yeah, 320 looks a bit better. Okay, let's change these to the actual numbers now. Why are the numbers sprites? Because I couldn't get the spacing in font. So I wanted a particular font, and it wasn't. Unity really was not having it. So yeah, when the clock counter counts down, and all the numbers actually in the main part of the game are these sprites. So when the time says 1 minute 45, it comes up with the 1 sprite, the colon sprite, the 4 sprite, and the 5 sprite. And it just kind of loads of different sprites. It does mean I can have more stylized kind of lettering. Now, how did I do it on the... Let's have a look on the actual game for the... Let's look at level 1. Projectiles menu. Let's have a look at projectiles. That's where I borrowed this from. And I've got a button. Now, is this actually a button or an image? I suppose it doesn't really matter, they're all kind of they're buttons, aren't they? Buttons with a graphic. That's what makes it. Okay. Let's go back to the main menu. Nope, don't save the scene. So level select. So these, rather than images, should be buttons. Although I can just do I think I can do an on-click event for an image anyway. One time a friend asked me why my desktop is empty. And I was like, I deleted the app that handles desktop icons because he's so used to Windows, he looked more confused than me at 3 AM writing code. Yeah, it's my desktop is not great. I keep going through phases of cleaning up the icons. But every time I install a new app or a new game, I tend to put a desktop icon, so I go, cool, it's there, I can use it straight away and come back to it. And eventually I don't use it for a while, and I go, wow, I can take the icon away because I can get to it in other means. I just don't need the icon there. Home directory is a mess and I don't want to clean it. Yeah. Now, it's over the Christmas period. I spent some time trying to clean up some things. Like I've got a number of different hard drives in this machine, and I have download folders on many of those hard drives. So I did spend some time collating my downloads and my documents into ordered stuff. So I'm not going, which drive is that on now? Did I put it in here? Did I put my music there? So I've tried to put all my music and all my media together, all my image downloads into another one. And anything to do with like game dev I always have in the same folder anyway. But stuff if I download it, if it's like a reference thing, ends up staying in a download folder, but I just don't know where I put it. So I did some cleanup over there and put it all together. Well, that's where that is. What am I doing for time? Probably another 5-10 minutes. I gotta just get this level select going, and then I'll look at wrapping up the stream. So these should be buttons. Let's go back to here then. UI. Button. Text Mesh Pro button. My downloads folder is such a mess, but I can find things there faster than my home folder, which is a bit more neat. Yeah, so what we should have done is made buttons and then assigned an image to the button. It's 100 by 100. Let's hide that. Okay, so now that button is... Now we don't want to say the word button. Text target graphic. What did I do on the other ones? Let's save that, go back to the other scene. I'm going to hit the hey, good night, hope you managed to finish your level select. Okie dokie bot, good to see you today, good chats. Always happy to see you in chat. But I hope you have a good rest. We'll be continuing this next Friday anyway. But we're making progress. It's nearly a game. It's nearly a whole compass of a game. I can actually start pushing it out for playtesting as a game, not just an idea. P1 image. UI sprite. Interesting. Hopefully I'll be here next Wednesday video stream. Oh yes, yeah. Hopefully. Things are getting better at work, so there should be another Blender asset stream on Wednesday. And we're doing gaming on Monday as well. So yeah, I'll see you next week though, Pop. Have a good rest. And yeah, I'll be posting in Discord as usual, if I am or not. But I intend to. I definitely intend to. Let's do a snip of those so I want to see what is going on. So source image, 2 and none, slice. Simple. Sliced. I'm confused why it says button. Or is it? I know. Ah, I'm being silly. It's got text on it. Let's delete the text. There we go. I was looking for a complicated answer that didn't need it. So that is now a button. So 126 and minus what's the modules? 126. We can delete that, rename that to level 1 and move it to there. Okay, so it looks identical, has a different function now, because it is actually a button. Although it's the only difference having the button, it says I wonder if I can actually add button as a component. Yeah, okay. So rather than deleting and re-adding, I can just add button as a component. Let's do that. Because at the end of the day, these are all just objects anyway. And what defines them as a different object is it's just its components. On-screen button. I don't know what the difference with on-screen button is, but we don't need it. Cool. Let's give that a save. So I could do with a little bit of script on the level select. So level select script. That just has all the level loading stuff, but then also does a check to see if we can play the level. So let's do a level select script. Let's go create mono behavior script. Go to level select. Cool, okay. Yeah, if I could be clever. Doesn't need to work like that. Wearing both Dragon Ball underpants and socks. Nice, you coordinated. You want to see? No, I'm good. I will believe you. We might not have 10 levels, but we have the things to load 10 levels. Now this, to me, feels like it could be... I could refactor this. And go... Public void. Load level. Yeah, I could do that. That works just as well as anything. Let's drag level select into there. We'll save that and we'll give that a quick run. We've run over our time slightly. If this works, then I'll wrap the stream up. Cool, it works. It's perfect. We can, well, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but we can certainly work with that and improve it. So whether I have like different images to select different levels, but they work for now. So I shall say good night, because we've streamed for just over 2 hours. And I'm happy we've made progress. We can save the game, we can load the game. We also have a level select. Good night. Good night to you. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Bot. And everyone else who's been lurking, I see you all there. Your awesome names.
Epic!
Epic as always. Thank you, Lisa. But I hope you all have a good evening, have a good night, rest well, have a good weekend. I'll be back on Monday with some more Trine. Enjoy Trine. That's on Monday. We'll play some more of that. But yeah, thank you for being here. And yeah, I'll see you all on Monday. Hope you have a good night, and I shall see you then. Good night.